It do be beating though.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Gary. Today we're going to be doing a full decon wash on this beautiful Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. The owner is a wonderful man, newly retired, bought this thing when it first came out as an early retirement gift, and he just has not had the opportunity to keep it clean regularly or really drive it. So it's just kind of sat in his driveway. It's collected a lot of debris on the outside in the form of water spots. So today we're going to be fully breaking all that down and getting the paint back corrected, decontaminated, and everything brought back to life. Hopefully we can restore this paint and this vehicle like it just rolled off the showroom floor when he first bought it a few years ago. So my goal for this video is just to give everyone a step-by-step guide on basically how to wash your car. For me, it's always gonna start with that foam bath. I know that this one, the dirt on the outside is pretty compact, but I'm still just gonna throw a little foam on there. I want the foam in this case to be a little bit runny, so I will dial in that dilution because I really want that foam to just kind of wash off the paint, with the goal being that it's gonna take any of that debris on the outside with it onto the ground, so that when we do a contact wash later, you actually prevent potentially scratching the paint when your mitt comes in contact with any of that leftover debris. So that's what we're gonna do first. Next, I'll go around, I'll do all the wheels. I like to do the wheels first, get that knocked out and out of the way. I don't want to get the outside of the paint clean and then start trying to get in there and fling brake dust and everything over. And these wheels are pretty nasty, so I'm actually looking forward to that. Once we get the wheels done, then we'll move back over and we will actually foam again, perform our actual contact wash. And then at that point, I'll probably go ahead and just get the paint dry. Since we will be doing a full paint correction, you're not gonna see me really doing anything with any type of drying aid. Make sure I'm not using anything like ceramic sprays. I want the paint just like completely free of any outside factors. So once we get the vehicle's paint like pretty much clean and everything like that, that's when we're gonna come in and I'm gonna have to do an assessment on, do I think it needs a one-step correction, a two-step correction, whatever. So we're gonna bring it in. I'll go ahead and hit it with an isopropyl alcohol bath to really kind of cleanse that paint, make sure there's not anything left over there. We'll come in with our compound. I've got a couple different pads that I'll show you kind of which ones I picked. I am not the expert when it comes to paint correction, but what I can tell you is I know a lot of people that are really good at it. I asked them what they use and that's what I bought. So we'll come in with compound, likely polish, and then once we're done with that, I have something really special for you. All right, so once you do all that work, you do not want to not protect it. So you can polish a car, you can compound the car and walk away, look at the paint and be super proud of yourself. But if you want all that work to be locked in and protected for the long haul, so he doesn't come back in 3 months with the same issues, then you're gonna wanna put something in there. A lot of people, they'll use a ceramic coating, some sort of sealant. Some people like to use wax. So me personally, I'm not a huge fan of ceramic coatings, and waxes are beautiful, but they don't last. And that's why people don't use them. So I actually found this product called HydroSilk. And what this is gonna do is it's going to be easy to apply just like a wax, okay? But it's gonna have some of those same protective features that a ceramic coating actually has. And the funny thing is, it's not a ceramic coating and it's not a wax. It's a brand new product developed by a chemist in a lab, and I'm hoping that the product is as good as the guy says it is. So we will test a small area. We will kind of see what that looks like, and then we will kind of go from there. So I'll be giving you also a step-by-step guide on how to use this brand new product called HydroSilk by Chemical 404. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop a comment below. I will get to those once this video is posted. And always, I appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. All right, so what are my kind of initial thoughts? I think that this car was probably already too clean with me doing the first pass to really get that wow factor when it comes to this. So I'm halfway, kind of like time will tell on it. The first half I did, I think I took it off too quick, obviously, not trying to do any damage to the vehicle. The second time I let it sit for a little bit longer, and you can see a little bit less beading. It looks like it maybe worked a little bit more effectively. At the end of the day, from the reviews that I've seen and just using it myself, this is not just throw it on the car and be done with it for the most part, right? We will prove that with my van. I'm not gonna touch the wheels, the paint, or anything. We're gonna throw this on there. We'll see what happens. So I'll put it through more of a torture test later on a vehicle that you can see that like no doubt is dirty. And we'll just kind of see what happens from there. Okay, so the next phase here is gonna be using the TDS Foam Cannon Apex. We're gonna put a nice thick layer of foam on the vehicle now because it's been completely pretty good decontaminated. We've tried to do our best due diligence. Now we're gonna go ahead and hit it with that contact wash. We want a nice thick foam to emulsify and protect that paint as much as we can when we're getting in there and doing our little wiping and everything like that. We also, so we put about 3 ounces in the 34-ounce foam cannon here. That's a 10-to-1 ratio. I feel a lot better about doing that than I do that other soap that was $89 on sale, mixed 4-to-1, so. We did our initial foam. We cleaned the wheels and tires. We just did our contact wash. And now we're gonna get to one of my favorite parts, which is gonna be your paint decontamination. There's a couple different things that we have to worry about here. Number one is that those windows are completely full of water spots still. They look a little bit better after using that acid wash and then hitting it with that base. But for me, what I'm gonna try to do is go back over it with some Quad Zero steel wool. And then as lubricant, what I've done is I've just put some Jax Wax in my foamer. I'm gonna give it a nice foam, hit it with the steel wool, and then get that off the paint. Now, once we're done with that, I've done something that's a little bit off-label. As some of you guys know, the paint decontamination sprays, the chemicals, they can be, it's not really the costly fact, but the only real way to get some good stuff usually is to buy it by like the gallon. I don't do a whole lot of paint correcting, so I just don't see the point in spending 80 bucks on a gallon of stuff to sit in the corner of my garage here. So what I did, I got this right here. It's called the Meguiar's Ultimate Wheel Cleaner, and it's a nice gel-based formula. It's still gonna do the color changing. It's still gonna react to the iron, and it's still gonna help you do all the different things. I just don't have to buy it by the gallon, and you can get a bottle of this for like 12 bucks. It's a really good product for your wheels and everything too. And you can just easily go pick it up at like any Walmart or AutoZone and stuff. So that's what we're gonna do for the chemical piece. And then we're actually gonna hit it with the brand new That Detail Shop Clay Towel. This is a great product here. And of course, Detail Shop doesn't sell things as everybody else does. We get the same products, same quality, but we're obviously gonna sell it to you guys for less. That's just kind of our jam. So you're not gonna find it for $40, $45, like some of the other places. So for this, we'll have to have a nice clay lube. We'll get into that product here in just a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and hit these windows and kind of see what that looks like. I want to point out that you can obviously use acid on the windows. Acid everywhere, but I try not to. It's because it's terrible for the environment and it's just a dangerous product. I actually have some, so I could use it if I wanted to, but it's just not my jam. I'm gonna try to see what the steel wool does for the water spots, and if that doesn't work, we'll probably have to hit it with a little acid. All right, so unfortunately, the least abrasive way did not work, so we are gonna actually hit this with some acid now. Not my favorite thing to do, but we gotta get these windows clean. All right, so let's take a look at these windows now that we had to get serious with the acid. No more water spots. So sometimes you gotta use the grenade, and that's what we did. All right, so the next step is gonna be the chemical decontamination. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this rinseless wash here to get ready for my clay lube. Pretty good stuff. And like I said, the chemical is gonna be right there. So this right here is gonna be your Nighthawk rinseless wash. You can dilute it like 896 to 1. So that means in this case, basically a drop will do you. You know, that's like this right here is, I just put 10 times more product in here than what we needed to. So 897, so 62 divided by 897 is like 1/10 of an ounce. So it's a great product. You might ask yourself, well, how do I know if my paint is needs decontaminated? And I'll tell you one way that you can do it. So you get your rinseless, or you get your something like that, some soapy water. And if you have some gloves, it makes it real nice. And you just rub them over that paint. And if you rub them over there and you feel a whole bunch of rough spots, see that you've got probably some iron fallout or whatnot, and we got to get that stuff off the paint. So that's one really nice way to do it. If you don't have gloves, which you should if you're detailing your car, then you can use something like a plastic baggie and put your hand in there and kind of simulate the same thing. So I hope that helps. We are now going to get into the paint decontamination phase. Let's just kind of put this on the paint here. I like this because it is that nice gel. I don't really worry about it too much. We'll let it sit and then we'll just quickly rinse it off. It's going to smell like crap. That's that kind of sulfur. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just kind of start here at the bottom, and just that way it just gets that opportunity to keep kind of soaking off the paint kind of slowly. I'm not super worried about this. Like I said, it's a fairly safe chemical, but it's super hot out today, so I'm just kind of being cautious. All right, so we just got done with the chemical decontamination on this beautiful Dodge Challenger. It's really coming together. I'm really excited, but this is something I've been really waiting on, guys. And this right here is the brand new TDS clay towel that's available at thatdetailshop.com. Now, if you look at it, what do you notice, right? Is this revolutionary? Is this a brand new design? Is this anything special in regards to that? Nope, it's not. I'm not here to lie to people, okay? But I will tell you that what makes mine special is the fact that I'm not going to sit here and charge you $44.99 for it, $34.99 for it. You guys can get one of these all day, every single day at thatdetailshop.com. And I'll do you one better. Right now, if you use the code ThatDetailGroup15, you get these for 15% off. And then on top of that, if that's not good enough for you, you can get the CMO bundle, which is probably the best deal in auto detailing. And this is included in there too. Let me show you guys how this works. We've got some rinseless car wash here. This is actually going to be the CTX wash here from Nighthawk, diluted 896 to 1. I couldn't even like measure that out. So that's going to be a 1/10 of an ounce, guys, in diluted within 2 liters. So we did the best we could. We're probably a little rich, but that's just because that damn product is so good. Let me show you guys what we got to do here. So we've already done some pretty heavy decontamination everywhere. With these towels, it's important that you break them in on the windows first. And then what I like to do is I'll fold it here into 4s, just like so, okay? We'll get that rinseless on there real nice. And then we'll just make sure that there's no further decontamination. I sure hope there's not. We have put this thing through all the paces. So that's what we want right there, just some nice long strokes. What makes these so nice, guys, they're just really good products. They last pretty much forever. We're gonna come over here, and once that gets broke in there, then you're ready for the actual paint. And you're gonna wanna go in those long sweeping motions once again. This shouldn't have that much contaminant on the paint anymore because we've already done a chemical decontamination. But this right here is the final step that I like to take just in case there is actually some further contamination. I want to make sure and grab that the best I can before we put those polishing pads and those compound pads to the paint. That's what we're going to do, making sure to keep everything nice and lubed up, everything nice and good to go. This is basically free, that rinseless there. And we're just going to kind of go like that, and you'll feel it grab when it finds something that it doesn't like. And you'll just go through and do what you need to do until you've covered the whole car and you're good to go. And then once that's done, like I said, you'll get your area. I'll set this down here, right? And then I like to just come over here, grab my hose, You don't have to use pressure if you don't want to. And we'll just back any of that excess product off, any of that contaminant that's still there, lingering off. And we'll move on to the next part of the car. Now, the goal here is to protect the paint. And in order to do that, you gotta make sure there's no iron fallout or anything like that that can get stuck in your pad and cause even more marring or scratches. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Alrighty, we're almost there. Look, the water is no longer beading. It's not sheeting. It's just blah, right? That's the effectiveness of using a clay towel and proper decontamination. Now, the reason why these are so special, it's the way that it's perforated, and then obviously having that synthetic clay. Now, there is really cheaper versions of this, right? You want this pattern right here. Those ones, they don't actually trap the contaminants. They're like a weird vertical pattern. They're not a high quality fabric like this. They're not good. The last thing that we're gonna do here, you can just set it there, set it on like a table that you might have. We'll just go ahead and clean any of that cleaner, any of that rinseless out of there, okay? That's all you gotta do to wash these. See a little bit of that excess cleaner coming out. We'll get that off the paint or whatever. Just a little rinseless. And then what I like to do, grab it. And what's nice about ours, we had a hook put on ours. You won't see that on every single one. I know the philosophy is that they don't want to have that hook damage the paint. I don't really have that fear because I'm going to be careful. And I think the people that are using this should be. So we'll just set it there, let it air out. It's got all that soap out of that, got all the decontamination out of there. And it's going to sit there and get dry and be ready for the next time. All right, so we've came a long way. So we've been working about 5 hours so far, and I feel like we've got everything. The paint's no longer really beading or sheeting, but in order to get it there, we had to use a lot of different chemicals, right? So we use some acids, we use some bases, we use some rinseless wash, we use a lot of different products. We use some iron fallout remover, chemical decontamination. So the last thing I'm gonna do before we let that paint cool and get ready to actually get corrected, I'm gonna actually do another thing that's kind of off label. I'm gonna grab some of this Dawn dish soap. This is gonna be your free and clear, okay? I'm gonna throw about 3 ounces of that right here in my foam cannon, okay? And if you guys know anything about Dawn, it's a degreaser, right? It's a foaming degreaser just like anything else. I don't think that anybody should go out there and be using Dawn all the time in the sun. It's a silly thing to do, but right now my job is to not only strip away any excess wax that's left, right? But I want to neutralize any of that leftover acid that could be sitting there doing anything like that we just don't see before I bring that thing in the car and I let it completely dry. Once it dries, we'll go over it again with the paint prep, which is going to be just a high percentage IPA mixed with water. And then we're going to be good to start that polish. So let's get into it. We fill this bad boy up with water. We're gonna put that free and clear in there. Looks like there might be a residual rinseless in there. I don't think it matters too much. Trying to keep it 100 up in here. All right, so I'm pretty interested to see, does it foam? This is so stupid. When you start getting $900 a detail, $1,400 a detail and up, the game changes a little bit. When you get those little $50 details, your customer is gonna be like, whatever, if you miss a spot or something like that. They might kick themselves, I'm gonna find a new one, right? But when your customer expects a $900 job or a $2,000 job, you're gonna wanna protect that investment. So what I tell my customers is, I'm not gonna put a sealant on your car. I'm not gonna put anything to protect your paint if I don't correct your paint, if I don't decontaminate your paint. I just don't see a whole point in locking that in. If you want that type of service, you can go down to the car wash up the street and they will lock in all that dirt, grime, and scratches, and you can go about your way. And that's just the easiest way I can put it. Now, one of the things that I've came across is this product right here called HydroSilk. And what this is a brand new chemical by a company called Chemical 404. What it claims to be is an end to waxes and an end to ceramics. They, and I say they, it's one guy, it's a chemist, and he sat down and said, ceramic and wax don't mix. So anything that's called a ceramic wax, not really a thing. Like they literally don't mix in the bottle. He said, but I really wish that they did, because wax goes on really nice. It's easy to apply. It looks really good, has a nice amount of gloss to it, but it doesn't last. And then you have a ceramic coating that, man, they last forever. They usually have a pretty good gloss. Longevity is really nice, right? But they're kind of cumbersome to apply. So he sat down and said, well, how do I get the best of both worlds? Well, I can tell you one thing. It wasn't by smattering them together, because they don't mix, right? He came up with a brand new chemical, and he's calling it HydroSilk. So what you're going to do here, in order to use this HydroSilk, is there's a little nodule right there. You have to prime it first. This one bottle here can do up to 4 vehicles. It's a pretty good deal. Now, depending on how liberal you are with the product, that can vary. So maybe you only get 3 cars, but for the most part, he's very confident, the chemist, that you can get easily 4 vehicles using this product. Now, in order to start it, you have to prime it. You're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for me, I like to prime the pad too, okay? So it's gonna soak in a little bit to that pad. You just wanna kind of get it all over there evenly, just like that. And then I believe you're gonna prime the pad with 2 more squirts. Now, once that's how you want it, nice, even consistency, you don't want those globs. That's what he's trying to prevent. That's what he means by priming it. And this is no different. You're gonna do this with my polishing pads that I did, everything like that. Then you're gonna have to figure out where on the body you're gonna use this product. We are gonna start over here on the hood, and depending on where you're at on the vehicle, there's a chart that I will put up here. What that chart's gonna tell you is how many squirts you need once everything is primed, okay? So when we come over there, the hood itself is gonna need 7 squirts for the entire hood. Now, we've already done, I'd say, 1/4 of that hood. So we're gonna do about 5 squirts, and we're gonna see if this product can get good coverage on that entire hood. In this car right here, all motor, baby. So you know that hood's big. So come on over and let's see what this looks like, and I'll show you the rest of the process. So 1, 2, I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. And then what you're going to do is you wanna kind of prime the area that you wanna go to, okay? So we're gonna get the area ready for impact, okay? All right, so now we're gonna do our actual pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's see what happens. And actually, I know I did that wrong. You're only supposed to do like 2 squirts, and then you're supposed to work in like a lot smaller area than this. So let's see, even when we're doing it wrong, if we can have success. All right, so that area is not primed. So we're kind of running into a little bit of issues. And I'm trying these products out in real time, guys. So I'm gonna make mistakes, but those are the same mistakes that you might make. So that's why we're here. So basically, I'm just gonna continue to work in the area that I'm kind of like already permitted because it's already got some product there. And I'm just gonna make sure that we have a nice, even coat. Okay, all right. Now, I'm gonna get the HydroSilk out again, and I'm just gonna do 2 squirts, okay? Kind of prime that like that a little bit, and now this should go ahead and get this area here ready to go. Okay? See my little square there. So once we do that, this allows you to kind of get that little momentum that you need. And once you pick that momentum up, then it's really just like putting on a ceramic coating anyways. Use that nice like crosshatch pattern. Nice strokes like that. So you guys stick with me. I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera. We're gonna get over there. You can kind of start to see everything haze over just a little bit. We'll get on that here in just a second. I really like being over here in this angle, to be honest. The way that the light's hitting it, it's very nice. I'm gonna try this area right here. We don't have any coverage there yet. So yeah, for the most part, once you get the hang of kind of how we're working, this product's pretty easy to apply.
I think I'm using it probably a little rich right now, but once you get the hang of it, I can imagine if this is something you want to keep at the shop or something like that, this is going to be a pretty simple process.
All right, so we kind of lived and learned a little bit. I feel really good about doing the rest of the car. The pad at this point is primed, right? So I'm just going to kind of go like this and get that product ready to go. I think you guys now should be able to see what we're working with. And I really like the slight kind of ease that it puts on everything, because it just kind of helps me see where we've been. Now, I could have been a little bit more organized in my approach, but sometimes you just got to get after it, you know? We're getting a little slickness here. I'm very confident that we already got that part, but just in case. All right, so as far as application, that's pretty much it. Prime the pad, read the sheet, figure out how many squirts that you're supposed to put between the pad and the panel, and you apply. And the last part is you're gonna let it sit for about 15 to 30 minutes. So for me, I'm probably just gonna finish this whole side of the car. I'll go check on it. The great thing about this project is, he said you can basically let it sit overnight. It's not gonna hurt anything. That's something you can't say about that ceramic coating. I gotta go use the restroom or something like that. I accidentally forget, kids distract me. I'm gonna be all right. Car's gonna be fine. So we're gonna continue applying this product. By the way, longevity is supposed to be for a year. Pretty excited about that. It should be still having nice hydrophobics in a year. And it'll start to kind of trickle down, you know, from there. So months 10, maybe not so much, but he said he's shooting under just a approval point, right? He said it still works very well at 12 months. So we'll see. There's a customer that says they're gonna come back quite frequently. We can do 3 or 4 more cars. So maybe next week I do my car, so we can do a full longevity test. I'm gonna come back to buff all this off and give you guys my final thoughts. Love you guys. See you in a minute. So I went ahead and got that whole car coated with the HydroSilk. Now the job is to just see if it'll buff off cleanly. You're supposed to make circular motions until there's no more residue left. Let me tell you about the application process. I think everything went really well. I will say that I used way too much product. I think maybe you got another car in that bottle. Maybe I'm underestimating that, but what I found myself doing was you really got to make sure that pad's cured. And once it gets clogged, once it gets full, you got to move to the next pad. And I think I was getting to that point quick because I was just using too much product. So what I was doing was I would put like a dot every single time. Every single time I move, maybe like a foot. And I would just go like down vertically on the panel, and then I would hit it horizontally to kind of smooth it out. So let's see if we can get this stuff to come off the paint smooth, and we'll go from there. So what I will say about this stuff is, one thing about a ceramic coating is they might be harder to put on or whatever, but I will say it's kind of nice because they flash so quick. I'm not going back over everything again. So now, instead of me being done with this vehicle, oh my goodness, I want to show y'all something, man. So that plastic piece was completely shot. And I ended up having some excess, so I buffed it onto there, and it really came out nice. And he told me that was possible. So that's very interesting. It looks like you can use this stuff effectively on plastic, so it's nice. It's not going to be solution finish, but that was pretty impressive. But yeah, the part that stinks now is like hand buffing and just buffing in general. Like, this isn't going to be a nothing task, right? Like, I just went around the whole entire vehicle, and now I'm going to have to do the whole entire vehicle again. So definitely something to think about with this product. But anyways, let me come over there, see if we can make out what's going on. So I get you like that. I think last time there was a pretty good angle that you were able to see. I found a better spot, I think. It's the way that the light's hitting. All right, I think that's pretty fair. So you guys should be kind of able to see me work this into the paint. So it is not fun, especially for a guy that's got bad shoulders. But on the flip side, the paint's looking real nice. And you can use this on windows and stuff like that too. So not bad. So I think that shine speaks for itself. I don't think I need to say too much more. I think it's a good product so far. I will come back
This has to cure, it said, for 8 hours. So it's definitely not going to get to do that. But I will, before the customer comes pick it up, try to test it in a small area so we can see those hydrophobics before they take it along their way. There'll be a link in the bio, and anything that I would get commission-wise go straight to charity if you just use the code happiness bag. I know y'all wondering, does HydroSilk bead? Come on, let's find out. Y'all ready? Yeah, I would say it do be beaten. It do be beaten though. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good, bud.